Now, as Delhi's air quality improved slightly from the very poor category to the poor category today, the Supreme Court is set to examine whether or not to continue with GRAP4 emergency measures. In its previous hearing on 22nd November, the apex court had expressed dissatisfaction and pulled up the Delhi government and police over their failure to implement clauses 1 and 2 of Stage 4 pertaining to the entry of polluting vehicles into the national capital. In fact, the court had then directed that more checkposts be set up to monitor all 113 vehicle entry points into Delhi. It also deputed 13 members of the Bar Association who volunteered to act as commissioners. They're likely to also submit the report today. Meanwhile, Delhi government's order on work from home and online classes will continue till GRAP4 is enforced. All right, I'm given to understand Nikhil, my colleague, joins me for more as far as this is concerned. Nikhil, very good morning to you. With the aspect that we were also discussing earlier, while we're looking at the numbers perhaps not be as much as what we were looking at in the past 1 week, it's still concerning with the fact that, citizens are continuing to breathe toxic air.
Well, Nivedna, the numbers are still very much concerning if we talk about the overall detail. Today, at many parts of the capital city, the AQI has been recorded between the level of 250 to 320. That means it has improved from severe and severe plus category to poor and very poor category. But still what we are breathing continues to be the toxic air. And today there is another set of hearing which is going to take place inside the Supreme Court, where the apex court will hear the matter further as far as the pollution is concerned. But today a major call has to be taken about the implementation or the extension, so to say, about the graded response action plan 4th stage, because as per the detail, the numbers are below that particular mark in which the GRAP4 is imposed. But last time around, the apex court clearly said that on Monday they are going to take a call whether or not to extend the guidelines when it comes to the GRAP4. But it appears like that they are also in the wait and watch condition, because the temperature as well is rapidly changing, and so is the weather. If we talk about the overall data, and the word which is coming in from the IMD department, Met department, next few days are going to continue likewise in terms of the overall temperature, in terms of the weather conditions as well. So we need to see as to what exactly is the review and the word which is going to come out from the apex court, because Noida and Ghaziabad, Noida and Gurugram, they have already announced through a public order that schools to remain suspended till Monday, that means till today. So they are also going to further make up their mind as to how exactly and how much extension should be given about the closure of the school once the directions and the guidelines are out from the side of the Supreme Court. Last time around, Supreme Court also said that without asking them, the enforcement should not be lifted when it comes to the GRAP4. So today we need to see as to what exactly the word is coming out from the apex court. But meanwhile, the air quality has clearly improved from severe to severe plus category to now very poor and the poor category. And still the most polluted area continues to be the Anand Vihar ISPT and Bhavana industrial area as well. So this is the overall details in terms of the pollution in the capital city. Back to you.
Point that out, one of the aspects that you've also spoken about is how, of course, these numbers are continuing to be indicative of how concerning that is. And it's very evident. I mean, look, you're also doing your job while being masked up, which says, what you're exposing yourself to. Having said that, many of these measures that have also been taken in terms of schools, because all age groups, of course, are vulnerable, but with the aspect of how we've seen Delhi NCR administration take that particular call, just for the benefit of viewers, it stays up until today. Once it's reviewed by the top court is when we might see a change or not. Is that the case?
Well, when it comes to the apex court, they are going to go forward with each and everything which has been done in terms of the implementation. Remember, during the course of the hearing, they also pulled up all the stakeholders as to why in the very first place the GRAP4 was very much enforced late into the action. And now they have clear-cut given out the directions that until seeking advice from them, the GRAP4 stage 4 should not be lifted. Apart from it, and this is something which we have already mentioned, that the Supreme Court during the last course of hearing, they also said that out of 113 checkpoints in the capital city, 100 are clearly unmanned, which goes out to the Delhi government and to the Delhi police as well. So they pulled up all the stakeholders in that particular context, but they are closely monitoring and reviewing the situation. Although it was informed to the court of law from the stakeholders that the air quality has marginally improved, so there could be some relaxation which could be given from the side of the apex court. So we need to see as to what exactly are the curbs or the relaxation in the restrictions, so to say, which are going to come out from the apex court. But as you have rightly mentioned, that many people are already there on the risk, be it the elderly people or those below the age of 15. So for the same, the call was taken by many of the institutions, particularly the education institutions, from the side of the Noida and Gurugram as well, wherein they advised that the schools will remain closed for physical classes and the mode of the education is going to shift from physical to online mode. But it is only going to last till today. But after the word which is going to come out from the side of the Supreme Court, then only the educational institutions and the private offices, they are also going to decide as to what exactly the further course of action is going to be. So today is going to be a crucial hearing when it comes to the overall pollution situation in the capital city.
Right, Nikhil. In fact, as you pointed out, request you to stay with me just for a couple of minutes. I'm going to come back to you, but let's take a look at that ground report that was filed by my colleague Niyamika earlier.
As a thick layer of haze shrouds in the national capital, you can still see that the air quality has been improved in the past 2 days, as the air quality index has come down to the poor category as per the data which has been given by the Central Pollution Control Board. You can also see in the visuals as well, as currently we are located at the Vijay Chowk, and behind me is basically India Gate, and on the other side there is Raisina Hills, and you can see in the visuals as well that the smoke continues to be engulfed in the air of the national capital. However, the AQI is currently at 279, which comes under the poor category. However, we have seen that in the past few days how there was a thick smoke which was being engulfed in the air of Delhi, because of which the GRAP4 was being implemented. However, today the Supreme Court will decide to ease the restrictions which were being put upon the national capital under the GRAP4, and for that reason it will also depend upon the report of the top court commissioners, which is going to be submitted after their field visits on the Delhi border entry points. As for that reason, we have seen that how the physical classes of the educational institutions and schools were being suspended because the GRAP4 restrictions were being put upon there in the national capital. Not just this, but in fact the diesel vehicles of BS4 and BS3 were also being restricted to enter in from the border areas of the national capital.
Harish Nair, my colleague, will help us draw a legal perspective as far as this is concerned. Harish, very good morning to you. These ground reports, of course, are indicative of what all of us are going through in Delhi NCR. Having said that, very crucial hearing today in the top court with the aspect of what we're looking at unfolding.
Yes, as you rightly said, very important hearing to take place in Supreme Court today around 1 p.m. The Supreme Court will take a call to whether to allow the CAQM center and states to withdraw GRAP4. Now that since the air quality had improved from severe to very poor, last hearing also Supreme Court had said that we realized that GRAP4 has its big problems. Situation is very serious because very many sectors and sections are involved, including large number of poor children in poor family who does not have the benefit of air purifiers or laptops at home, and large number of them who go to school just to get the midday meal. There was a human interest angle also put in by the several lawyers who had pleaded for withdrawal of GRAP4. So today the Supreme Court had today Supreme Court will take a call on that. Earlier, Supreme Court had said that without permission of the Supreme Court, GRAP4 cannot be withdrawn by the government authorities, saying that that is the main result that the smog which had engulfed the capital for almost 10 days continued to persist because timely measures were not taken, preemptive measures were not taken. At the same time, the Supreme Court had also pulled up the government of Delhi for not doing enough to control outstation thugs from coming inside the Delhi, and had appointed a 10-member court commissioners team which had stood guard at the various border points. They will be submitting a report. So today's big question is whether the Supreme Court will allow governments to withdraw GRAP4, which means that if once withdrawn, physical classes of students will resume. Several industries can open. Also, construction activities can resume, generators can function, and most importantly, as I said earlier, physical classes for students from class 1 to 11 can resume. So all eyes on the Supreme Court hearing today.
Right, Harish, thank you very much for joining us with that quick perspective as to what we're given to understand as to the remarks that were made earlier in the top court and how that could unfold. But for the moment, we'll leave the conversation at that. But meanwhile, let's also tell our viewers that very dense fog was reported in isolated pockets of Punjab and Haryana, shallow to moderate fog in isolated pockets of East Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Northwest Rajasthan and West UP as well. Meanwhile, Mumbai also witnessed severe air pollution this morning. The AQI worsened to 192 in the moderate category as temperatures dropped in the maximum city. As per IMD, Mumbai is predicted to stay foggy throughout the week. Let's shift our focus now to big news that we're tracking.